and welcome to an episode of AWS She Builds Tech Skills North America. My name is Kandyce Bohannon. I'm really excited about today's show. I'm joined by my co-host Pragya, and we have a very, very special guest today named Medha, who has a very cool story and a very tacky cute golden jacket that we're going to talk about today. So thanks both of you for being here. Very excited about this.
Same here, Kandyce. I am so excited as a She Builds core team member to be talking to Medha. Such a role model, and also really exciting to hear about her journey, getting her to wearing that cool little gold jacket. It's a big deal, everyone. So you're going to find out why.
Thank you both so much for having me, and I'm super excited to talk about my story today.
Great. Yeah, we're very, very excited to have you on the show. Just kind of as we're kicking things off, let's just start with you, Medha. Let's let you do a little intro. Tell our audience a little bit about your current role, how you got here, and things like that, and then we'll jump into more about the golden jacket in a couple minutes. So tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, of course. So as Kandyce and Pragya mentioned, my name is Medha. I am actually a solutions architect at AWS. So I support enterprise greenfield customers. So these are larger companies that might not have as much exposure to AWS. So it's really rewarding to be their first steps in utilizing our services. So just about how I got this role, right? So in 2021, I was a solutions architect intern. So I went to college at University of Texas at Dallas. Go Comets, whoosh. And at UT Dallas, I was involved in a lot of women in tech related organizations, such as Society of Women Engineers. So a solutions architect actually at AWS, she was also a SWE-UTD alumni, and she reached out to me asking if she could talk a little bit more about being a solutions architect in AWS. So through that event, I learned about the role, and I thought, wow, this is a great balance between being technical, learning more of like the new features coming out, but also connecting that tech to business and making an impact to our customers. And that's when I realized, okay, I really want to apply to this role and see what happens. So 2021, I got the internship. I actually was supporting D&B enterprise customers. So I was within that team, but it was a really cool experience just to work on a project and see that impact that we have to customers. And when I got the return offer, I was super eager, and I started full-time in 2023. So especially to be a solutions architect, you need 20 plus years of industry experience to even speak on a lot of the terminologies. But I'm from college directly, right? And so there's actually a program called TechU. And so through the TechU program, they actually teach us and they connect, our experience with the tech that we learned in college with how it connects to AWS. So I went through the TechU program for 6 months, and then I funneled actually into a department called the Cloud Sales Center within the AWS org. So the Cloud Sales Center is a department which is very niche because we own a pretty big portion of the business, but it's a flywheel where we want to ensure that these early career talent essays like myself, we're able to get the appropriate guidance to then make that impact. So I'm currently a part of CSC, and through this, I supported enterprise greenfield customers. So that's a little bit about my journey.
I love that. And it's also, I love like starting as an intern, asking the right questions, being curious, and then leading to here you are as a solutions architect. I think at Amazon, we have a leadership principle called learn and be curious. And there's so much of that in the story you just told, from just growing your own professional career and asking those questions for the people that are around you. And then, of course, technically upskilling yourself as well. So thank you for sharing. That's awesome. It's also, I don't know if everybody knows, but like our intern season started. So we invited and hosted a lot of our new interns in our different offices in North America, in Seattle, in Arlington here, where I'm based. So I was in the office this week and it's buzzing with interns. So this story is amazing. So thank you for sharing that, Medha. Maybe we take a turn into now talking about the gold jacket. Like, tell our viewers what it is, why is it called a gold jacket, and then what made you pursue it? Was it, a coincidence that you landed with it, or did you actually work towards it?
Yeah, absolutely. So the gold jacket that I'm wearing today, so typically there's 12 AWS certifications that we have. So we have a couple foundational certifications, associate level where they, focus on particular services, how we utilize those features. And then there's also a couple professional certifications in addition to specialty certs. So there's a total of 12 AWS certs. And out of those 12 AWS certs, if you receive all of them, you get this golden jacket, which I'm truly honored to be wearing today. So I'm excited to talk a little bit about my journey, right? So initially, it was mostly a way for me to learn. And especially as you're speaking to customers about AWS, we also have goals internally within the company to get these certifications. So I got my first cert during my internship. It was the Cloud Practitioner Foundational Cert. And I also highly recommend, especially to viewers here who are just getting started with the cloud, I think it's a really great foundational cert to get started with. So I got this during my internship. And then when I started full-time through the TechU program, I got the SA Associate Cert. So this actually comprised of various different services and at least discussed how we would bring all of this together. So after I got the Foundational Associate Cert during my internship in TechU, within CSC, we had some more goals as well. And I am also very into AI ML. So within AWS for Solutions Architects, we also have a community called Technical Field Communities. So I'm actually a part of the AI ML TFC community. And to be a part of these communities, there's also prerequisites that you need to get. And so as a result, I got my machine learning specialty to be a part of that. I also got my AI foundational cert, in addition to my machine learning associate cert through the process. And so when I was going through this whole phase, I was like, okay, I'm meeting a lot of the goals already, right? And by that time, I already took 8 of the certifications. So I was like, I have 4 more left. So now fast forwarding to 2025, right? This is the start of the new year. And I actually had a little get together with some of my friends on the weekend. We were like, let's create vision boards together. Like, what do we want to accomplish for the year and set that standard? And I printed out a picture of the gold jacket and I put it on my vision board because I was like, I'm, 4 certs down to getting this gold jacket. And I think through every cert, I've learned something new through the process. I was like, if anything, it's going to help me grow as well technically. And as you mentioned, Pragya, like learn and be curious. It's so important. So here I'm at, and actually the end of March, which is also Women's International Month, I received my last cert, which is the networking cert. And I'm so honored to be wearing this today.
Wow, amazing. This is inspiring because the certifications are tough, my friends out there. Like, they can be done, but they take a lot of studying. They're diverse from data engineering to AI ML to networking, so many diverse domains. So this is huge. Congratulations, Medha. Would you say your favorite is AI ML out of all of those?
I would say so. Yes, I would say the AI foundational as well as the ML associate were a couple of my favorites because I felt like they're a lot more Gen AI focused, which I would say is the talk of the town in this era. So I thought those were actually the most relevant, but I also enjoyed the machine learning specialty cert as well.
Nice. I think that's super amazing. So I'm on the golden jacket journey. I'm behind you. A thing to kind of note too is that sometimes these certifications expire. So right now I have 13, but I don't have the golden jacket because I got things like data analytics, which got deprecated. It kind of is covered with the data engineer associate certification now. So it really does encourage you to continue to keep on learning. And my last one to get is the advanced networking one. So I have to start making time for that. Like I just started a new job a couple of months ago and I'm figuring out how I do this well. How do I manage my time and all of those sorts of things? So Medha, can you help me explain to me how you studied and any pro tips that you might have for me and for our audience?
Yeah, Absolutely. And also, I have to say, the networking cert was also one of the hardest certs, I would say, for me. So I would love to even talk a bit more specifically on how I study for that cert. But yeah, it's hard to make time for it because we all have full-time jobs. We all have, our work that takes precedence, right? But what I would do is, before I started work, right, in the morning, I would wake up, do a couple practice tests so I can review some of the concepts. And then even after work, I would purposely go to a coffee shop before I would come back to my place. So I'm at least in the zone to still study before I come back home. And then on the weekends as well, I have to say, I'm so grateful that I have, med school college friends who are also studying for their exams that they have weekly. So seeing them study also gave me motivation. And it was also a great way for us to even interact, even just to spend time together in such a great way. But I would say when it comes to studying, what I would recommend is, first focusing on taking some practice exams. So Tutorials Dojo, I would say, is a really great starting point. And it's a great way to even level set to see, okay, how am I doing, right? Sometimes you might do better than you expected, honestly, and there's just a few different domains that you need to brush up on, right? So depending on that, at least it gives you a bar of where you're at. And then from there, Tutorials Dojo, there's also really great links that come with some of the domains that you might not necessarily be the best at that time. So reviewing those links, trying to understand what's happening really helps. And then in addition to that too, there's a few different ways where to go from there. I'm a type of person that likes to build things on the side, that likes to read a lot of documentation and be a visual learner. So I actually read a lot of AWS user documentation, going through AWS workshops, and trying to set some of these aspects up within my own console really helped me put together those concepts. And so that was what helped me out. And so I would mostly just rely on Tutorials Dojo and those types of activities. But in addition to that, like, let's say there's a concept which I'm really not wrapping my head around, that's where I would lean a little bit more to Udemy or some of those course related videos, so then I can refresh myself on those particular topics. So that's a little bit of how I study for it. And I also would recommend too, for people who are taking these certs, especially for some of the more intensive certs, like the networking cert, going into the testing center, because they actually give you a piece of paper and pencil so you can diagram out a lot of the questions that they're saying, so you can understand, okay, what's the missing piece here, and then go through the overall exam. So that's just some advice that I have.
That's super helpful. Super helpful. Yeah. And I think there's so many things, right? I'm a very much still a paper and a pen kind of person. I'll make notes everywhere, but being able to solve with a paper and a pen is still very much feels like innate sense. So I appreciate that tip. Often we look at so we're celebrating you, well deserved. This is amazing. We want to, I'm inspired. Tell us about if there were setbacks as you're learning. Are you a good tester? Are you a good test taker? Tell us about that, and if you did anything there to get to this milestone.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I feel like I had to go through test anxiety. I'm like the type of person that, sometimes overthink certain aspects, right? And I think especially when I took the essay associate cert, especially, that's when I realized, okay, my head has to be in a particular mindset. For context, that was the only cert that I tried to take from my place. And clearing up, your walls and going through the whole process and it being like, oh, this is not compatible enough for you to take your exam right now, really put me in a different mindset, which actually allowed me not to focus on certain questions the way I should. And that was actually one of the only certs that I failed because my head wasn't in the game, right? So in that situation, it helped me realize, okay, this is how I need to study, right? Like before I even go to the exam, I'm not going to be reviewing concepts. I'm just going to take it easy, have a nice breakfast, go to the testing center. And then even after the exam too, I make sure I book some type of plan even afterwards. So I don't think about, okay, like, did I pass? Did I fail? And create anxiety within myself. So, but before that time, I'll be a hobbit. I'll be studying nonstop, trying to understand, okay, do these concepts make sense? In fact, if you're all based in Austin, Texas, I can give you some recommendations of coffee shops, because I feel like I've gone through a lot of those coffee shops to understand how I study. So I would say overall, though, that's what kind of helped me out. But the first exam gave me an idea of what works best for me to conquer the other exams as well.
Yeah, I think that's so important, because what you said is, one is the skills, you got to study for it, you got to be hands-on, practice this, but then the mindset of when you're going to take it is so important as well, because we often do get in our own way of like, oh, did I do it? I'm going to second guess. Some of these questions are really long. There's lots of options and they can look the same. So I appreciate you sharing kind of like your mental, this is how I get in the zone and then go give the test.
Yeah, for sure. We've gotten a couple of questions from one of the viewers that I kind of want to make sure we touch on here. Let's see. And before we do that, I really like the thing that I kind of want to double click on is your sense of community. So I want to come back to that one in just one second. I think studying with friends and having a study buddy is a great plan. But we did get a few questions actually from the same person. And I'm going to handle the easy one. They said, did you budget for the exams? And then going on to say, it's free for AWS employees and partners, right? And actually, it's not free for us. What I would recommend doing, we often run, the certifications often have specials. I think right now there's a few of them that you can take, and if you fail, you can retake it for free. So it's kind of risk-free, if you will. And then once you've passed an exam, you get a voucher, so you get 50% off of your next exam. So that's a thing that you should keep in mind. And some employers will reimburse you for that cost, but that's up to you and your employer. So that is a thing. That's an easy question that I can answer. But now back to you, Medha, the expert. Here's the longer question. And you touched on this just a little bit, but if you talk just a little bit more about it. How did you divide between theory and practice? You read a lot of docs and you got into your account and were building things. So can you talk a little bit more about what the balance there was, and which certs that worked best for?
Yeah, absolutely. Again, it varies per certification. For me personally, I felt like the foundational ones, if you focus on the theory component of it, you would be set to go. So for me personally, I read a lot more AWS documentation while studying for them, as well as doing practice tests. I think what is consistent amongst all of these certs, though, is Tutorials Dojo. I highly recommend Tutorials Dojo. I think that just gives you a great level set. And again, I know Kandyce put the link in. Truly recommend it. But specifically for, the SA professional certification, for the DevOps professional cert, even some of the specialties as well, like especially the networking specialty cert, I really had to get that hands-on experience to even understand, okay, how do these networking components happen, right? What are they talking about when they're mentioning direct connect and setting all of that up with AWS, right? So you have to get that hands-on knowledge in that sense for some of those professional and specialty certs, which I think really helped me out. And also for any projects that I did, right? A really great resource I would recommend is Workshop Studio. So there's already a lot of different AWS projects that are out there, and you're able to just try and follow the steps and understand through a guided lab of this is how it should be set up. This is why it's being set up. So there's a lot of information that not only helps you set it up, but explains why you're setting it up the way that you are. So that really helped me put it into perspective. But what I would do first, I would first kind of go through the notes that I took. So I would watch some videos, go through the documentations, take a practice exam, then do some of the hands-on activity. And from that point, if it was still not clicking, that's when I would watch some videos as well.
Okay. I think that's really helpful. I actually went through, I think Skill Builder or something like that, which I do have. This might be to the AI practitioner exam. I'm not quite sure, but Skill Builder has a ton of free resources also with videos and things like that. So networking is my weak spot. And so I have to watch, I have to learn a lot before I'm even ready for those practice exams. So there's another resource for people as well.
Yeah, no, Skill Builder is excellent. I think they also do a great job in explaining the concepts really well, and the practice exams that they have are also really good too. I remember I took the Skill Builder practice exam for the SA Pro, and that was super helpful. And then also another resource I wanted to mention as well too is if you want to even connect with AWS employees as you're trying to go through this journey, we also have something called AWS Power Hours, which are basically Twitch streams where you're able to ask certain questions. And we have, streams that are available for specific certifications as well. So depending on which cert that you're working on, I would also highly recommend this resource.
Awesome. Very cool. Okay. Let's get back. Well, I think there was one other question that this person asked too. So they have the CCP, the cloud practitioner, certified cloud practitioner, that's it. And doing the AI practitioner tomorrow wants to pursue the AI ML path. Do you think there's value in covering SA associates, sysops, and networking? This person is focused. Doesn't sound like they want the golden jacket, but focused on the ML path. What do you think?
Yeah, that's a great question. Also, good luck on your exam tomorrow. I would say AI Foundational is a great next step. It really focuses on some of those Gen AI terminology, such as retrieval augmented generation and certain techniques, which I think are key to know today. And from there, I would actually, if you want to focus on the AI ML path, I would highly recommend taking the machine learning associate certification. I think it's a great combination between the Gen AI concepts as well as the foundational machine learning services that we have. It's a great mix between the both. And I do highly recommend the machine learning specialty cert afterwards, because I would say that's very ML modeling related questions. I would say I'm really grateful that I focused in AI ML during my grad degree at UT Dallas, that at least provided me a foundational path. But I would recommend, if you want to understand those techniques and how that works, the machine learning specialty is also a really great cert. So I would mostly focus on those if you want to take that AI ML path specifically, but especially if you still want to get some knowledge about the cloud, I would also recommend the SA Associate cert as well, the SAA, because it gives you a pretty holistic view in terms of all of these services and how they come together.
Yeah, that's helpful. I just renewed mine, and I'm always like, I had it 2 years ago and I still learned so much recertifying SAA. So yeah, +1 on that. Awesome. Thank you for that, Medha. We're getting close to the end of our session here. So I really want to learn what's next for you. What are you excited about for the rest of 2025 now that you have your gold jacket?
Yeah, that's exciting. It's funny that you mentioned. So next week, I'm going to be starting at a different department within AWS. So I'm really excited about this. So as I mentioned, I supported enterprise greenfield customers, but as of next week, starting from next week, I'll be supporting some of our ISV customers. So these are like the independent software vendors. So they'll have SaaS solutions that, as an SA, you'll be providing support. And it's really cool to see that ripple effect in terms of not only are you helping your customer, but their customers as well with what you're helping them build out. So I'm really excited about that challenge, understanding a different segment of the business and how that connects to the tech that I'm learning. But in addition to that too, I know Kandyce mentioned, for me, community is super important. And on the side, I'm actually involved with the Women at AWS Employee Resource Group at AWS. And I lead a program called Youth Tech. So this is actually a 1-day, 4-hour program where we partner with the university, because I've been in their shoes at one point, and I wish, having that foundation of AWS within college, or having AWS employees, having these hands-on workshops would have put me in a really great footing that I really want to provide that to these university students. So there's a lot of exciting news, especially in terms of how we're planning on scaling these events that we've been having across the North America region, as well as the Asia region and the Europe region too. So excited to continue working on that.
Awesome. I love that you're kind of giving back. You're early in your career and you're still making sure that you're giving the time back and helping others. So I think kind of closing out, last question of the day is, what specific advice would you give to these people who are entering the world of tech? So when you do these events, what do you tell people?
Yeah, I mean, the world of tech is always growing. There's something that's changing every day. And it's hard to even sometimes figure out where to start, right? And what helped me out, especially when I was going through this journey, was finding groups that I felt like I could relate with. And that's where Society of Women Engineers came into play when I was a part of college. I was also part of the NCWIT community, which is the National Center for Women in Information Technology community, which is really big, as well as rewriting the code. So finding a lot of like-minded people through these groups really helped me out. In addition to that, too, I was very involved in the hackathon community in college. So at UT Dallas, I co-founded the first gender-focused hackathon called WEHack. And through this hackathon and just being a part of the community, working on a project for 24 hours gives you that practical experience that you need to understand how these moving parts come together. And it's not about, creating a beautiful MVP by the end of it. I mean, that's a cool advantage if you're able to, but it's more of understanding how these concepts come together and also building your network and finding mentors that could help you out even after this hackathon, or like working and understanding what sponsors are thinking in terms of hosting this hackathon too. So getting involved in hackathons will give you that tech experience that you need. Getting certifications like AWS certs, right? That also provides you that knowledge that you need as well as attending some types of boot camps. So if there's a particular area and depth that you're interested in, going and being a part of a lot of these boot camps can really give you that added knowledge that you need. And having multiple mentors, like even I have several different mentors that help me grow in different areas and different paths, which has helped me navigate, okay, this is in this really big world of tech, this is what you can do. And this is the path of how you can get to where you want to be.
I love that. Yeah, the sense of community, the sense of belonging, finding your like-minded people. I mean, that's kind of how, we kind of foster that at She Builds Tech Skills as well. So thank you for sharing that. It has been a pleasure talking to you. Congratulations again on your gold jacket. Kandyce, anything else?
No, you're super inspiring. I'm learning a lot from you. And I'm on your heels. Like, I'm gonna get that jacket too. I'm going to get it.
You need a vision board. I'm gonna
I
make
do.
one too.
I need a vision board. So I'm also going to talk to you about that, and you can mentor me. I would really appreciate that, Medha.
I'm truly honored. Wow.
Please do. We can help each other, but you're going to help me first, and then I'll help you. Okay?
Absolutely.
So no, I think this was a really great show. I'm just going to close us out and share a whole bunch of links. So first of all, Medha's amazing. Thank you so much for being on the show. Follow her on LinkedIn. You can see, I saw one of your posts recently where you got the golden jacket. Very cool. Pragya is also on LinkedIn. Yep. And so am I. You can reach out to us anytime you want to request some content or have some follow-up questions or something like that. You can watch all of our previous episodes on our AWS She Builds YouTube channel. So encourage you to like and subscribe to that one. And you can also email us at shebuildsna@amazon.com.
Yeah, please feel free to send us ideas. We do this so we can help anyone who's looking to build a career or know more about careers in technology. So send us ideas, subscribe to us so you can tune into another cool episode like this next time.
Yeah. Great. And actually tomorrow we have another episode with someone who has a non-traditional background. Well, we'll say not technical background to start with, and how she got into tech, some of the certifications she did and how she learned. So it's a week of learning type of episodes this week. So really excited about that.
Love it. So many stories out there. Thank you so much for hosting, Kandyce, and Medha. Thank you again for making time and sharing your story.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Of course, it was great. We'll see you soon. Bye.
Take care. Bye.
Bye.